Hi everyone, it's Lisa with Forever Connected, here again to bridge the gap for people that are losing their hearing as they age. It is my great passion and it's my huge motivator to help people know how to communicate even when somebody really can't hear them very well or at all. And that's something that everybody has to just accept, that there are people losing their hearing. We have to accept it as we age. If we're losing our hearing, so much better if you accept it and take steps. Get some hearing aids or not. Anyway, this is going to be all about family gatherings. And this came up for me because of a couple of situations that I witnessed. One was myself growing up. I wasn't raised around this particular grandma, so I didn't really have much of a connection to her, but she did end up living up here near us in her last few years of life. And as she lost her hearing, I just stopped talking to her. I feel terrible about that, but it is so true that if they can't hear you, you just give up. And I'm here to encourage you, don't give up. Just don't give up. People want to hear your stories. People want to still be part of your life. People want to know what's going on, and leaving them isolated and not knowing what's going on around them is just not fair and not nice. So I'm here to get you to keep trying, try different things, and that's what I'm going to teach you. The other thing that comes up for me is I went to visit a friend once who had lost all of their hearing at a young age, and the whole family sitting around the table was talking and laughing, and they were obviously really connected family who'd been just super supportive their whole life, and this young man was just looking down and eating because he couldn't hear them anymore. And that just broke my heart. And I don't want that for anybody. People want to be included. You've invited them to your home. So we're going to talk kind of like the idea of family gatherings, birthday parties, the holidays, whatever it is, and ways to keep them included, ways to tell them your stories. Kids, act it out, be silly. And that's the thing too, this doesn't have to be serious. This can just be a whole lot of fun. And I will be using some sign language. Part of my life, my history is that I've been a sign language interpreter for about 25 years, very connected to the deaf community here. But I'm not going to teach you sign language. You're not going to be fluent by watching my videos, but you can use your hands. You can use your body, and I'll show you a few ways of doing that. So something to keep in mind is that the person who's losing their hearing or has lost their hearing at an older age, not somebody who grew up deaf and has sign language and will actually use it, but somebody who is new to struggling to hear, they might be frustrated. They might be embarrassed. They might be sad or even angry. And it's really important that you just keep trying. Figure it out for yourself. If you use any of the signs that I teach you and they're not perfect, who cares? If you understand and they understand, you're communicating and you're staying connected forever. So if you're having a family gathering, one of the things you can do, the best thing you can do for this, let's say grandma's coming. Grandma's lost a lot of her hearing or all of her hearing. She really struggles to understand in a crowd, a restaurant or even the living room full of people talking and laughing and watching sports and whatever they're doing. It's really hard, even with really good hearing aids, it's hard to hear in those situations. So set up a separate space. Back in a bedroom, in a den, in an office, somewhere that's well lit so they can see you and that it's quiet. And then, take turns going in and visiting with grandma. Or if you're all out in the living room, you can just wave to grandma and say, come here, come here, come here, come here. Take her into a quiet space, well lit space, and tell her your stories. Bring pictures, again, everything, any visual you can use. Use your phone to pull something up and show them something on your phone, or even type on your phone, just so that they are engaged, they are involved. They're not just sitting there sad, happy to be there, but not engaged, not part of what's going on around them. Another really important thing, like let's say you're around the table, take turns talking. It's really important that you take turns. They cannot follow more than one person talking when they're struggling to hear, especially hearing aids often are directional, so they can look at the person who is talking and get more auditory information. Absolutely take turns. Even if you get something like, what is that called? Like a speaking stick or something, where whoever's got the stick is allowed to talk. It's a great tool because then they know who's talking, they know to look, and whether they pick up on every word that is said or not, they're there and they know who's talking. And that is so important. It's really important that they can see your face the whole time. And because a lot of people are lip reading, and I'm going to put that in quotations because lip reading is sketchy at best. Even the best people in the world who lip read the best you've ever seen are missing 75% of what you're saying. and they're just really good at piecing it together. But for people who have grown up hearing, we're used to looking at people's faces when they talk. We see different cues. You can see squinting eyes, you can see furrowed brows, whatever. So make sure they can see you the whole time. If you need to look away and you're talking to them, pause what you're saying, look away, come back, keep talking. Because as soon as you turn away, you've lost them. It's important that you don't yell. My first thought of naming this company was going to be stop yelling at your parents or stop yelling at your spouse, which I still think is great. But yelling does not help. Yelling actually distorts the sound, makes it harder to understand. So if they're hard of hearing or completely deaf at this point, yelling will not help. You'll feel like it does. I have people all the time in my business as a sign language interpreter. The hearing nurse, let's say, comes in the room and starts talking really loud, and I'm like, they can't hear you. Why are you yelling? So yelling doesn't help. It makes it worse. So don't yell. Don't overemphasize your mouth movements. If they're used to seeing you talk like this and you start talking like this, you're just making no sense at all. Plus you look silly. So don't do it. Does not help. Making things visual, again, is really important. Point. You know, I know growing up we're taught as kids, don't point. It's rude to point. Point. Make sure they know what you're talking about. If you're at the table and you want to know if they want more sweet potatoes, point at sweet potatoes. You know, you want some? You know, hand them the food you're talking about. Show them the food you're talking about. If you're talking about someone else at the table, say, you know, Kevin over there, he went and played lacrosse yesterday. But point. Make sure they make it visual as much as you can. Use pictures. I think I mentioned pictures a second ago, but use pictures. You know, if your kid had a softball game yesterday, bring a video, bring a picture, have them run and grab their jersey, do something so that the person you're talking to at least knows the subject, at least is on the same page with you. It's really, really useful. I've talked a little bit about sitting around the table with family and friends. And again, make sure you get their attention before you start talking to them. There's lots of ways to get their attention. Yelling their name is not one of them. Just accept the fact that things have changed in your life with these people that you love. So you could do anything from waving. Grandpa's sitting over there. You want to tell Grandpa something. Wave, get him to look at you, and then start talking to him. Another option would be touch. You know, if you're sitting right next to Grandpa, you know, tap his hand, tap his arm, whatever you're comfortable with. I know that us people that have born and raised with our hearing and our vision, we're not used to touch. We're not supposed to touch. We're not supposed to point. But touch is an important part of this. And it doesn't have to be uncomfortable. Just tap them, you know, get them to look at you and then start telling them. Whatever it is, pass me the milk. Nice to see you. The other way is to pound on the table. You know, you've got one of these big long tables, family all around, and you just pound on the table until, or ask somebody else, you touch them. Could you get Grandpa to look at me? You know, but pound on the table, stomp your feet. A lot of houses are built to where that is very effective. Even if you're not at the table, you know, across the room, sometimes stomping your foot can make all the difference. Flash the lights. You could even have a flashlight. Like I talked about, you know, passing the stick, taking turns talking. If it's a flashlight, you can flash it, get them to look at you. And that's just a really important part of it. Once they know you're talking to them, at least they're focused on you, doing their best to understand. One thing that a lot of families do when they get together is play games. Try thinking of games. You can play the same old games, but think of ways that you can edit them, alter them, make them a little bit different so that you don't depend on verbalization. My husband and I love to play skip bow. There's no talking needed. You just play your cards. You know, if you love to play games that do require talking, you're just going to have to figure out how to make it visual too. You know, make some cue cards, do whatever it takes that you can play these games that you enjoy and talk and laugh and be together and enjoy it without it being frustrating or without, you know, Grandma and Grandpa are going to sit over there while you play games. That's not fun. You know, so figure out, there's ways of figuring it out. If you need help, get a hold of me. Puzzles are great. Jigsaw puzzles, my favorite. Puzzles are wonderful. It requires nothing of you. You just sit around together and build this puzzle. And, you know, just, it's one of those options that I thought of right away. Use your phone or a tablet or something that you can use to just write down what you want to say. If you're just really not getting it, if you really aren't able to tell Grandma, Grandpa, whoever it is that's not hearing very well, grab your phone. I will be doing a video that has to do with technology that will show you how to get a larger print on any of these devices, if in case they're struggling to see as well. And you can just use that to write down what you want to share. We're going to call things quit at 7 o'clock and we'll drive you home. You know, if you really want to just let them know, use their first language, doesn't matter if it's English or whatever it is, and just write it down and make sure they understand what you're talking about. Okay, so we've got these family gatherings going on. Let's talk about some reasons why you might be getting together. Christmas is a good one. So Christmas, the sign for Christmas, there's a lot of them, but the most commonly used around here where I am is the sign for the C hand shape and then like a tree, and you just move it like this. That's Christmas. And this, like I said, this is tree. So you've got the ground, you put your trunk on the ground and you do this, and that's a tree. Now, yes, sign is a beautiful language and it is so popular and people are fascinated by it. And one of the things that is so much fun about sign language is you can have that core tree, and then you can, you know, it's windy out and you can make it just rock and roll. You can make it, oh no, the tree fell down. You could play with these signs, you can move them around. But the basic sign for tree is just this. Santa Claus. Some people will just do the sign like SC for Santa Claus if they're already talking Christmas, but this is the most common sign for Santa. You just use big woolly beard. Okay, so snow is white. This is the sign for the color white, and there will be a video with a bunch of different colors that I will teach you in another video. Feel free to find it. But this is the sign for white, so you do white and then you make the snowflakes. Because rain is just rain, just on its own. Rain, see how it comes down harder? Snow, snow. Now, snowman, because what fun is that? You do basically snow, and this is the sign for man. Or again, you don't have to know the sign. You white, snow, and then this balls this guy. You know, people will understand you, and that's just fun. So deer, deer's a good one. Deer, got your antlers up here. Stocking, Christmas stocking. So the sign for sock, two single fingers like this rubbed together. Have no idea why that's the sign for sock, but this is the sign for sock. My favorite part of the holidays is pie. So this is pie. You're basically just cutting it into a pie shape. It's my favorite part. Next favorite for me would be mashed potatoes. So potatoes is this. It's just your little two fingers crooked on the back of your hand. That's the sign for potato. And you could do all kinds of things with potatoes, right? You could mash them. You can have sweet potatoes, which is just this full hand on your chin, sweet potatoes. Oh, potatoes, I just messed up my own sign, sweet potato. So yeah, potatoes. So speaking of pie and mashed potatoes, going away from Christmas, let's go to Thanksgiving. So I was taught Thanksgiving like this. It's just, this is called the G hand shape. And it's basically, this is the sign for turkey. So it's basically turkey and then down on your chest. Sometimes you'll see it with two fingers, but it doesn't really matter. So this is turkey. That's their little, I don't know what that thing's called that hangs below their chin, but turkey, and then you just make it Thanksgiving. We already talked about pie and mashed potatoes at Thanksgiving. How about Easter? Easter is the E hand shape, and it just basically, you just E, and that's Easter. What goes along with Easter? Of course, eggs. Eggs are two, what's called the H hand shape, and you basically hit them together and crack the egg. So egg. Bunny, my favorite animal. You can tell I'm laughing at my list because, you know, it's all my favorite things, but, you know, it also has to do with Easter. So rabbit is this, his two little ears. Bunny, bunny. You don't want to do it up here because that's horse. You want to do it down here, bunny. Halloween. This is the sign for Halloween, which is also the sign for mask. So basically Halloween, you can always think, like I like to say, I make up little tricks in my own head to remember things. And Halloween, for some reason, I had a tough time remembering when I was learning sign language. So I just pictured boo, boo, boo. Kind of helped me remember. Speaking of boo, how about a ghost? This is the sign for ghost, which I love. It looks just like a floating around ghost, or spirit. That's also the sign for spirit, but ghost. And then pumpkin. It's just tapping on the back of your hand with your flicky finger. Okay, New Year's. New Year's is a fun time, and it's an opportunity for me to teach you a little something about sign language. Like I said, I'm not here to teach you to be fluent in sign language. I'm just here to help you communicate with people who can't hear you very well anymore. That being said, one of the most common questions I get asked when somebody wants to know a sign, whatever it is, whether they want to know a sign for, well, New Year's, let's just use the sign I'm talking about. They want to know right hand or left hand. Which hand should I be using? So here's a rule with sign language. Your dominant hand does most of the work, does most of the movement. If it's a two-handed sign, the non-dominant hand does very little. So with New Year's, this is the flat palm and kind of a crooked hand like this. New. This is the sign for new. So the right hand, I'm right-handed. If you're left-handed, you'd be doing it this way, which is really awkward for me. So New Year's, but that's just a rule of thumb that the non-dominant hand either does nothing or very little as far as movement is concerned. So this is new and this is year. And it's basically the earth, which goes around which? Earth going around the sun going around the earth. Anyway, it's the rotation of the earth. So that's year. So you basically new year. Yay! Let's celebrate. Okay, 4th of July, not really a sign for it. Basically you do the number 4 and you kind of flip it, 4th, and then you would have to spell July, which is most people. Finger spelling is really hard, and I will have a whole video about finger spelling. And if you don't know what finger spelling really means, it's exactly what it sounds like. You're spelling anything on your hand, which is really useful if the other person knows the alphabet as well. But so yeah, 4th of July, you can try it if you want, July. First time I saw that in class, deaf teacher just went 4th of July, and I was like, what did you just do? So don't worry about it. But fireworks. Somebody would understand that, right? You have it on New Year's, you have it on the 4th. Fireworks. Okay, so July, like I said, it's become a sign where they kind of just move it so fast. But finger spelling is important, so look for my video on finger spelling because it's going to be used in a lot of signs. So there is a video out there that on my site that you can look and you can learn to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, all the way to Z, and it'll be useful in a lot of things. Trust me. Now we're going to do a few family members. I won't go too far into it, but family, since we're talking about family gatherings, let's figure out what people are called. Signs for people, feminine signs are all below the ear and male signs are all above the ear. So that's something to remember because the sign might be completely identical depending on where you put it on your face. So open hand 5, mom. I bet you could figure out where dad goes, right? If dad's above the head, above the ear, dad, mom, dad. When you add in the idea of age, this is the sign for age, like an old beard, age, you go grandma, away from your chin, grandma, grandpa, okay? Now you may have 2, 3, 4 grandpas there. I know when my son was born, I think he had 6 grandmothers between great grandmothers and step grandmothers and everything else. So you may have to clarify when you're talking about who you're talking about. Pointing is always a good option. That grandma, that one. So there's grandma, mom, dad, grandma, grandpa. Brother and sister, again, feminine, male, sister, off your chin, brother, off your forehead. So brother, sister. If you have a bunch of them, again, you'll have to figure out how to specify who you're talking about. There's a couple of signs for these youngsters. There's kids, which is this kind of rock and roll hand shape here, and just under your nose, wiggled like this, kid, or children, which I always just picture patting a bunch of little kids on their heads, children. Girl is down on your chin because it's feminine, and it's just this movement with your thumb against your chin. But what it's talking about is those bows on those bonnets the girls used to wear, the little bows they would tie under their chin. So that's girl. And then boy is baseball cap. Basically, you're grabbing the bill of your baseball cap. Boy, girl. And again, feminine, male. So now we know the sign for mom. What if the next holiday coming up is Mother's Day? So it's just basically Mom Day. So this is the horizon, and your day goes, the sun's coming up, the sun's going down, okay? So that's a day, but you don't usually make the sun, you just day. So you just do Mom's Day, or you can just do it with a finger, doesn't matter. Mother's Day. Okay, your turn. Just kidding. Father's Day. Father up here. Dad Day. Dad Day, however you want to do it. We could talk about aunts and uncles and cousins, because cousins is kind of cool. Same hand shape. C for cousin. Down low, female cousin. Up high, male cousin. Aunts and uncles. I'll just keep going. Aunts, letter A, hand shape. Aunt. Uncle, U, hand shape. Uncle. So the next time we maybe get together is for a birthday. There's a lot of signs for birthday. The most common one is with this middle finger, this hand shape where your middle finger is sticking out on your chin and then on your chest. Birthday. I don't know where that came from or why it's that. Another one you'll often see is birth. This is giving birth. See, picture birthing a baby, right? Birth, but up here, birth day. Same kind of day. Birthday. So at a birthday, we're hoping it's a happy birthday. So here's a sign for happy. Positive signs go up, negative signs go down. This is sad. Not that you need to know it on a birthday. Maybe you do. But positive, happy. Most emotion signs happen here on your chest. Excited. There'll be other videos. Make sure and look for more videos because you guys are going to learn so much and you're going to have fun doing it. And that is really my main thing. I'm not done with birthdays, but that is my main thing with this business is I just want people to have fun communicating again, especially if you're really feeling that loss of the person who you can't really connect with anymore. You can, you absolutely can. You just got to try a little harder and a little differently than you ever have. So don't give up. Do not give up. Keep trying. Be silly, be fun, use anything that you have to communicate. Okay, so where was I? Birthday. We said happy. So happy birthday or happy birthday. I could teach you how to sing happy birthday. That'll be fun. We'll do that in just a second. This is the sign for cake. Basically, you've got a plate and this is cake. It's like, looks to me like a carrot cake or banana bread. Anyway, cake. Candles. So basically you're putting your finger here and you're wiggling the flame on your candle. Ooh, and of course blow them out. Presents. Gift. This is gift. So you can use both hands. It's just a little bent finger gift. And you can make it directional. If you're giving that to somebody, you're going to give that to somebody else. The gift goes wherever the gift is going. Party. This is the P hand shape, one of the hardest hand shapes. Okay, just take a second. And again, you have a whole video on finger spelling. But this is K. If it's sticking, if this finger is straight up, that is a K. As soon as you drop it, as soon as it's not sticking straight up, it's a P. So you can go as low as this for P. It's still the same hand shape. It's still the thumb just one-handed. The thumb kind of between the two fingers, straight up K, drop down P. 2 P's, party. Woohoo, party. All right, so now we're gonna sing happy birthday. Ready? Okay, so happy, I taught you happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear. This is to cherish or love something. Dear whoever, happy birthday to you. There you go. Teach everybody to sing that. It'll be so much fun. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. I hope this is helpful. I hope that your next family gathering goes a lot more smoothly than the last one did. And I look forward to talking to you some more. Find all my videos, like my stuff, and I appreciate you buying in and watching what I have to share, and I hope it's useful for you. Okay, thanks. Bye.